All right, let's get right into it. We're going to be talking about an ancient secret for finally getting some peace and quiet inside your own head. It's a framework that's thousands of years old, but you'll see just how much we need it right now. You know the feeling, right? That little voice in your head that just will not stop. It's always planning or worrying or replaying some awkward thing you said 5 years ago. You try to tell it to just be quiet, even for a second, but it doesn't listen. Well, what if that's not a failure of your willpower? What if the real problem is that we've completely misunderstood what the mind actually is? You know, when we hear the word yoga today, we immediately think of stretching, poses, a good workout. And look, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just one tiny sliver of the original idea. See, ancient yoga wasn't really about the body at all. They called it the science of the mind. The whole point, the entire goal, was to understand and quiet that constant inner chatter. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This is the core idea from the ancient texts, and it is pretty radical. We all walk around assuming we're in charge of our own minds, but the ancient yogis, they saw it completely differently. To them, the mind was like an untamed animal, just roaming wherever it wanted to go, paying absolutely no attention to our commands. And if that's true, it leads to this wild, mind-bending question. If that constant stream of thoughts, that chaotic voice, isn't actually under your control, then what if it isn't you? What if the real you is something else entirely? The answer, according to this ancient science, is that the real you isn't the thinking mind. The real you is the awareness behind the mind. It's that silent, calm part of you that's just watching. It watches the thoughts come and go, it feels the sensations in your body, but it's totally separate from them. They called this pure consciousness. And you can see clues of this everywhere in your own life. I mean, think about it. Have you ever been able to just command yourself to stop worrying? No, right? Or have you ever tried to just decide to forget a painful memory? It just pops up whenever it wants. Even something simple, like a sudden craving for junk food that appears out of nowhere. These are all little hints that the mind is kind of running its own show, totally separate from what you want. Okay, so the mind is just off doing its own thing. So what? What's the big deal? Well, the problem is that its thing is often making us absolutely miserable. Let's break down exactly how it does that. Our thinking mind is basically a pattern-making machine, and it's got a few favorite stressful patterns. First, it is obsessed with comparing you to other people. It invents these dramatic, worst-case scenario movies about the future. It gets totally hooked on egos, so if someone disagrees with your opinion, it feels like a personal attack. And oh man, does it love to hit rewind on your biggest mistakes, forcing you to feel that shame and embarrassment all over again. And this is the most crucial part to understand. We almost never suffer from reality itself. We suffer from the stories our mind tells us about reality. So here's an example. Your coworker walks past you without saying hi. That's the reality. It's neutral. But the mind instantly creates a story. They're mad at me. I must have done something wrong. Everyone here hates me. See? You're not suffering from the missed greeting. You're suffering from the story you just told yourself. So we've got this rogue storyteller in our head that's causing all sorts of chaos. The solution, as I'm sure you've guessed, is meditation. But it probably doesn't work the way you think it does. In fact, let's just bust the biggest myth about meditation right now. Thinking is just a natural biological function. It's what the brain does. Thoughts just happen. So trying to wrestle your thoughts into submission, to force them to stop, is as pointless and exhausting as trying to tell your heart to stop beating. It just creates more stress and more noise. The real goal of meditation is so much simpler and more achievable. It's not about getting rid of thoughts. It's about calmly, repeatedly choosing to take your attention back. It's about deciding where your focus goes instead of letting your thoughts just hijack it all the time. Okay, here's a really cool way to think about this. Imagine your awareness. That inner you is like a movie screen. And any given moment, you can project different things onto it. You could project a conversation, or the taste of your coffee, or a worried thought. But here's the trick. They can't all play at once. If you're really truly focused on the taste of your coffee, that worried thought has to fade into the background. So meditation is just the practice of changing the channel. That's it. You sit down comfortably, you decide to project just one simple thing onto your screen, like the physical sensation of your breath going in and out. And then a thought will pop up and try to steal the show. It always does. And that's totally fine. You just notice it, and without judging yourself, you just gently change the channel back to your breath, over and over. That's the whole practice. And the really great thing is you don't need a special cushion or a silent room for this. You can practice changing the channel anytime. When you're washing the dishes, just decide to focus only on the feeling of the warm water. That's cleaning meditation. When you're walking, just feel your feet hitting the pavement. That's walking meditation. All you're doing is choosing to put the present moment on your screen instead of whatever random thought is trying to take over. And this practice, it's not just about feeling less stressed out. It actually points us toward a completely different way of understanding what happiness even is. See, our mind chases a very specific brand of happiness. It's all based on getting things from the outside world. A promotion, a new phone, a compliment. And yeah, it feels exciting for a bit, but it's always fleeting. It's unstable, and it always creates a fear of losing whatever you just got. But there's another kind of happiness, an inner bliss. It's not based on anything external. It's stable, it's peaceful, and it's always there just waiting underneath all the mental noise. Think of it this way. The happiness that our mind chases is like a wave in the ocean. It swells up with excitement when you get what you want, you get to ride it for a little while, but it's fundamentally unstable. It has to crash. And as soon as it does, you're paddling around looking for the next wave. True inner peace, on the other hand, is like the deep ocean. Up on the surface, the waves of life, success, failure, praise, blame, they can be totally chaotic. But deep, deep down, that core part of you, that pure consciousness, is always calm. It's still. It's completely undisturbed. And that leads us to the final and maybe most important point. This whole journey isn't about achieving some new state or gaining a new skill. It's not about adding something to yourself that you don't already have. It's really a journey of subtraction. It's about learning to turn down the volume on the constant static from your mind so that you can finally hear the quiet, peaceful station that has been broadcasting from within you this whole time. Look, your mind is an incredible tool. It can solve calculus problems and create breathtaking art. But a tool is something you're supposed to pick up when you need it and put down when you're done. So the question this whole ancient practice leaves us with is a simple one. Are you using the tool, or is the tool using you?